I was the fat kid that everyone made fun of at school. Oh, I had friends. I even got invited to parties, but I was always the butt of jokes. Early on, I was christened Whale by some comedian, and the nickname stuck. It's easier to laugh with them than rage against them, and it's always amazing how alone you can feel in a crowd. After graduation, I bummed around from job to job, never anything that would lead to bigger and better things, and I never found the courage to leave town. All those years of belittlement eroded my self-confidence. Eventually, I borrowed money from my dad and set up a summer job. I'm the big fat guy that you see on the beach who offers tanning protection. You stand there and I spray you with a high-grade tanning lotion. Come and see me at Whale's SPF Protection Plus booth. I use only the best spray protection so you can tan but won't burn. Unless, of course, we went to school together. My old school friends. I use a lotion from a mixture I created myself. You won't get sunburn, but the toxins in my special mixture should be apparent by the time our reunion rolls around in another couple of years. Skin diseases and cancers should whittle out the numbers somewhat. George! Look, they found another girl. Killed the same way as the others, Clara Potts showed her husband the headline. She popped another Goette's caramel cream into her mouth and continued reading, caramel-colored juice dripping down her chin. The victim was found bound with duct tape on a bed in the motel room along the boardwalk. Nostrils and mouth were crammed full of saltwater taffy, to such a degree that the cause of death was almost certainly slow suffocation. Clara had finished the caramel creams and reached for a box of kettle corn. George didn't think she'd even glanced at the ocean their entire beach vacation. She must have packed on 20 pounds. Well, those girls probably asked for it, sashaying around in those skimpy bikinis. I'm glad that I was raised to be modest. Clara stuffed the rest of the kettle corn into her mouth. Well, I'm going to bed. You coming along, George? She bletched. And George shook his head. Soon. I might go stretch my legs a bit. He watched Clara waddle into the bedroom. Soon snores were coming from behind the door, and he rose, went to the hall closet, and took a small bag out from under his golf clubs. If not for their kids, he'd have left Clara years ago. Now there was almost no point, and besides, he'd learned to cope with his miserable marriage. He checked the bag's contents. Duct tape, gloves, and 2 boxes of Dolly's saltwater taffy. He would see Clara's face on whatever young girl that he grabbed tonight, just as he had in the others. He took the bag and walked out into the night. It's salty, little Tommy said, cupping some of the water in the palm of his hand. Of course it is, son, I chuckled. You know the water's salty. Too salty, he exclaimed, and flung the offending liquid into the sand. I came over and knelt, leaving my paper back on the beach chair. Daddy, ouch, it burns! I could see tears form in his eyes. It's okay, son. I took his little hand and felt the wetness of the ocean water on my fingers. It was warm and tingled. The tingling increased, and the warmth turned into a heat. He was right, it did burn. Tommy began to cry, and then from down the beach I heard a scream. Oh my God! I stood and squinted through the bright sun reflecting off the sand. The scream was joined by others from all around me, and I could feel the terror of everyone on the beach becoming one rising wave of panic. I saw a young girl run in with the surf, screaming, her tan skin melting over her bikini. A fat man in a Speedo ran in the water and fell. When his arms came up, they were bone to the elbow, with great flaps of dissolving skin hanging like cloth. A young man pulled his tiny daughter in by the arms. dragging behind her the stumps that had been her legs. I watched them come in running, thrashing, falling, all of their skin melting from their horrified faces and revealing the white bone beneath. Tommy was crying. From high above, the sun beat down on the beautiful white sand of the beach.